Hi guys, I hope you can hear me okay. I'm in my car. I just got back having some lunch after a meeting. I was helping a local parent in our community who was having some issues with her son's school. And the meeting itself was draining, hard, hopefully productive, but it made me very aware of how much schools try to take advantage of parents of marginalized kids in order to kind of sweep them under the rug, especially in areas of discipline. So what I wanted to do was kind of give some tips for parents of marginalized kids. If you have kids of color, if you're a parent of color, if you have disabled kids, if you have queer kids, if you have neuroatypical kids, if you just have weird kids. I hope that some of these tips will help in dealing with schools, okay? First off, let me say, I know there are a lot of amazing teachers out there and a lot of amazing school staff out there. I've talked before about, some of the amazing experiences that my kids have had with school, okay? But there are also a lot of ways in which schools do really a lot of harm for our kids. At the same time, trying to disempower us as parents from helping our kids and from stopping them from doing that. So the first thing I want everyone to realize is that there are a lot of schools out there whose goal is to make your kids conform. Not only that, but to tell parents that the ultimate goal is to get your kids to conform, to get your kids to be less of who they are and more like everyone else. This is something that we are told that success for our children is how well they are able to integrate and assimilate with the masses. Okay, we are told this time and time again, and it is disempowering not only to our kids, but to us as well, because we are told as parents that everything that the teachers do to assimilate our kids is in their best interest. So first off, let me say, that is complete bullshit. Okay? All kids deserve a safe space to be themselves and to grow without the teachers trying to mold them. The ultimate goal should be to get a school environment to meet kids halfway, to teach kids how to do those halfway steps, right, so that they can get on in the world, but also to help shape a world that does not try to distort who our children are, and does not try to beat out of them, what is special and unique and wonderful about them. Okay, that has to be 50-50, and that requires that you see children as individuals and you value their uniqueness, and you actually make that part of your teaching goal. Okay, so a lot of how this starts, right, is the messaging that a lot of parents get are, we just want your kid to be able to sit with the other kids, we want your kid to be able to do this with the other kids, we want him to be in line with the other kids, with no attention given to the individual need of your kid, and with no acknowledgement that our children will be helping to shape the future, and they have just as much rights to shape the world in their image as other kids. Okay, so know that first of all. Okay, if you find yourself in a situation where you have to defend your kids, I hope some of these things will help. First of all, challenge every disciplinary action. Investigate every disciplinary action. Don't let anything go by without investigation. And please don't ever let your kid be suspended without sitting in a meeting and finding out exactly what happened and what the staff did to avoid that. Remember, the school's goal should be the ultimate success for your kids, okay? Our children of color and our disabled kids are so much more likely to be suspended from school. And a lot of parents aren't told that. They aren't told, hey, there is something definitely wrong. There is a very good chance, because your kid is 4 to, if your kid's disabled, like 8 times more likely to be suspended. There's a very good chance that the problem is not your kid, it is the school. We don't tell parents that. Don't ever, ever let a school suspend your child without proving to you, to your satisfaction, that it's necessary. A suspension is a failure on behalf of the school, because what all the steps that they should have been taking to avoid that have failed. Okay, so know that. Okay. Second of all, come with an agenda. Okay, know exactly what your goal is with your kids. If you want your children to be seen a certain way, if you want to know what your teachers are doing to accommodate your children, write it down. And don't let staff try and deflect. Don't try and let them get you in a corner. I today sat and watched a principal of a school and a counselor of a school try to shift discussion about some really egregious discipline that had been taken against this child. They tried to shift it to, like, we need to talk about this kid's behavior. Oh, we need to talk about what's happening in his home. Oh, we need to talk about all these other things, except for how we had lost our way as adults to put this kid first, had this kid in a position where his life could have been permanently altered by the discipline that we were trying to put down on him. How we had failed to de-escalate situations, how we had failed to reach out to this kid, how not once did we ask, what do we need to do to make this kid feel safe and calm in this school? Don't let them derail you, okay? If you set up a meeting saying you want to talk about the way in which your school is treating your kid, do not let them shift that into the way in which your kid needs to change and the way in which you need to change. If they want to have that meeting, they can set up that meeting. Write it down. I mean, like today I literally had to write down, like, these are the issues that should be talked about today. And each one of these needs to be addressed. I don't want to see this merry-go-round of, oh, but also we need to look at this, we also need to look at this. Know that you have a right. You have a right to know what the school is going to do to better serve your child and other children. If your child is having trouble, your child is not the only child. And don't let them make it about your child. It's not just about your child. And I'm not saying that your kid is perfect. I'm not saying your kid is never going to have problems, right? Kids are kids. But I am saying that we all know who the adults are in the room, and they're the people with the primary responsibility. So I just kind of wanted to, I mean, it was really frustrating today to look at a situation where luckily a parent was able to advocate for herself, and sit here and wondering what would happen if these parents didn't speak English. What if they had to work long hours and didn't have the time to attend these meetings? What if they just nobody had told them that they had the right to challenge these decisions by the schools? Then a kid's future could have been ruined. And I just want parents to know, you have to advocate for your kids, and we have to advocate for other people's kids, which means if you're in there talking to a school, it's not just your kid, right? You are advocating for other people's kids as well. And teachers, you have to remember that your goal is always to meet a kid halfway. It is not to turn our children into robots. And you need to examine, your motivations behind your disciplinary actions. So I just hope that maybe this can help some parents. I really hope that I see so many kids who end up getting suspended. They end up getting labeled as bad kids from an early age, and parents don't know that they have the right to challenge that. And that needs to go all the way up too, because the truth is that it should be completely unacceptable from an administrative level for anyone to suspend a kid without serious checks and balances. That should be the absolute last resort. It should never be a default action. So I hope this helps. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I hope to answer them. But I just, I see parents out there, and I know that a lot of the messaging out there is built to discourage you from taking action. But know that you can, know that we got your back. All right? Take care.